Ladies and gents, I'm Kurzgesagt and this is the side effect of vaccines. How high is the risk? By the channel Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. Vaccines are one of our best tools to prevent dangerous diseases, but they come with side effects. So would it be safe not to vaccinate? This is one of the most stupidest thing of all time. I mean, seriously. What makes our modern world modern compared to the past ones? I mean, not just the technologies that we have right now, just simply by health-wise. What makes past century better than the previous centuries? What separates it? Why we call ourselves more of a modern day human than compared to any of those past ages? Because of the vaccines. People die with the simplest things that you can't even think about right now. Polio, tetanus, pneumococcal disease basically gave you pneumonia. Pneumonia is really effed up. Children died a lot during that time. Smallpox, like I said. So, this is just ridiculous. Like, we shouldn't vaccinate. Measles. I mean, there was a case in USA where people like, oh, this is a vaccine cause autism. We just know it. Because I guess some actress or somebody just said that, like, my kid got autism because of vaccines, don't do it. And people just ran with it. So, people didn't vaccinate. And immediately, there was a measles outbreak in that area. Measles outbreak after another. Are you kidding me? Do you understand? This is the thing with humans. When you have something good, you take it for granted. You don't realize what people used to struggle with in the past. Polio, measles, are you kidding me? What year is this? So, yeah, vaccines are important. This is one of the most important things science gave us. Vaccines. I mean, yes, vaccines have side effects. Nobody's going to argue that. But there is no correlation between autism and vaccinating somebody. There has been studies after studies after studies. Every time somebody goes, oh, there is this, there is this, they're going to give you some website. Like, look at this blog. There is this, they talk about some study. I don't care about your damn blog. There's a proper studies that have been done with the major research centers. They found no correlation. I don't care who somebody in the blog wrote. It's the same shit, flat earthers did. Pick and choose study here and there. Overall, there is no correlation between those two things. Now, is there a chance we might one day find out, oh, look at that, vaccinating does cause autism at certain level? Yeah, we could. That's science, it could evolve. But right now, there is no correlation. It's like saying there's a toaster, orbiting around the Mars. I can't disprove that, obviously. But if I'm going to launch a rocket to the Mars, I'm not going to take into that account like there could be a toaster come around and hit me inside the rocket. I'm not going to take that into account. So it's like that. Of course, vaccinating is important. Let's watch this one. I looked at quite a few Kurzgesagt video already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cars. There's a playlist calculator for it. Kurzgesagt reaction something. Because lots of time I upload video more than 3 in 24 hours. So some videos notification don't get sent out. So people don't realize it. I uploaded a video or something. So check out the playlist. You might have missed some video. Check out the playlist too, like Real Life Rose, CGP Grey, Old Sarcastic Production, Internet Story, and Tier Zoo. And yeah, let's watch this one.
Vaccines are celebrated for their part in fighting disease. But a growing group of people seem to believe that they endanger our health instead of protecting it. The internet is full of stories about allergic reactions, the onset of disabilities, and even death following vaccination appointments. And it's true, vaccines can have side effects. Let's look at how they work and how dangerous they really are.
Okay, I have really basic knowledge about how vaccine works. So, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I think vaccine works by, I guess, fooling your immune system into thinking the vaccines are the viruses. The vaccine are supposed to, kill or something. So, vaccines are supposed to be pretend viruses that makes your immune system go into overdrive and, make it more defensive, I guess. So, eventually it kills off all the, viruses or something. I'm pretty sure that's the case, but I guess if I'm wrong, we'll see.
Your immune system is a complex army of billions of cells, soldiers, intelligence cells, and weapons factories. Every day you're attacked countless times, but your immune soldiers alone usually deal with that, so you don't even notice. If an infection becomes serious though, our intelligence cells gather intel about the attackers and activate our weapons factories. You know the weapon? Antibodies. They're like targeted missiles, produced specifically to combat the invader. Unfortunately, this process takes several days to complete. That gives intruders a lot of time to do damage. Contrary to popular wisdom, what doesn't kill you doesn't make you stronger. Our bodies really don't want to fight serious wars over and over, so our immune system came up with an ingenious way to get stronger and stronger over time. If we fight an enemy that is dangerous enough to trigger our heavy weapons, our immune system automatically creates memory cells. Memory cells remain in our body for years in a deep sleep. They do nothing but remember. When an enemy attacks for a second time, the slumbering memory cells awaken and order coordinated attacks and the production of antibodies. This is so fast and effective that many infections you beat once will never make you sick again. You might even be immune against them forever, which is also why little kids are constantly ill. They don't have enough memory cells yet. And this beautiful natural mechanism...
Yeah, so that's basically bodies like, if there's something small coming, I don't need to remember that, I'll battle it. But if something is a major scale, they're like, oh, I can't have this again. I can't have, days long battle before I realize what it is. So let's store some data. So that would make me remember if that's the same virus or not. So I know where to attack.
is what we build on when we use vaccines. How vaccines work. As great as memory cells are, obtaining them through an infection is unpleasant and sometimes dangerous. Vaccines are a way of tricking our bodies into making memory cells and becoming immune to a disease. They pretend to be a dangerous infection. One way of doing this is to inject invaders that can't do harm, for example by killing them or by ripping them into pieces. Our immune systems deal with these kinds of vaccines pretty easily. Sometimes it's necessary to make our immune system work harder though to produce even more memory cells. Live vaccines are the real deal. An enemy that can punch back is a bigger challenge than a dead one. But this also sounds like a sort of horrible idea. What if the germs win? To avoid that, we breed a sort of weak cousin of the real germ in the lab. Just powerful enough to annoy the immune system and create enough memory cells. Okay, so these are the basic principles of vaccine use. They provoke a natural reaction in our bodies that makes us become immune against very dangerous diseases. Some, like the flu virus.
So yeah, basically, I kind of knew that, so I was right. Basically it's like a pretend virus, the vaccines. And they basically triggers more memory cells in the end, which, makes us essentially immune because, it's easier to defend in the future, I guess.
Mutate so often that we need a new vaccine every year, but most vaccines protect us for years, or even a lifetime. But there's a catch. Like everything in life, vaccines have another side. Side effects. What are they, and what happens if your child develops one? The risks of vaccines. It's complicated to directly compare the side effects of vaccines with the effects of diseases. For example, hundreds of millions of people are vaccinated against measles in the West, but there were only 83,000 cases.
Comparing side effect of vaccines with the actual diseases, no. See, here's the thing. Scientists are not morons. I mean, that should be obvious by now. So if, side effects of vaccines were more stronger than the disease itself, they would say to discontinue vaccines, it's not working.
Cases in Europe in 2018. So with numbers that different, even mild side effects can seem scary compared to the bad effects of a disease that we don't see as much anymore.
There you go.
Before the measles vaccine became available in 1963, virtually every single child on Earth contracted measles at some point.
Yeah, damn.
An estimated 135 million cases in the 1950s. Every single year. But are measles really that dangerous in the year 2019 with our advanced healthcare and new technologies? Are they worth the risk of vaccine side effects? Let's do a thought experiment based on real numbers.
Measles are dangerous at any time. If you don't vaccinate, measles are going to be same dangerous now as they were centuries ago. I mean, come on.
Imagine a developed country in a parallel world. It has good healthcare, but people stop vaccinating. In this scenario, let's say 10 million children caught measles. What happens? 9,800,000 or 98% will get a high fever and a very unpleasant rash. Up to 800,000 of them, or 8%, will suffer from dangerous diarrhea. 700,000 or 7% will suffer from an ear infection, which can lead to permanent hearing loss. 600,000 kids, or 6%, will suffer from pneumonia, the most dangerous effect of measles.
Yeah.
It alone will kill
When it comes to viruses, pneumonia is one of the most dangerous effects. Even with the current pandemic, if the pneumonia effect starts, that's when things become more serious.
12,000 children. Up to 10,000 children, or 0.1%, will get encephalitis. 2,500 kids, or 0.025%, will contract SSPE, a disease where the measles virus lingers in their brain and kills them a few years later.
Whoa.
Taken together, around 2.5 million children will suffer from somewhat serious effects from measles, and about 20,000 children will be killed by measles. It doesn't stop here though. The kids who beat measles are left with a severely damaged immune system that needs a lot of time to regenerate. Time for other diseases to do further damage. Aside from that, what's almost...
It's like a battle. The battle is finished. The soldiers are basically, battered and somewhat damaged, and another war starts. And there are so many wars to come. So... yeah, I mean, come on, man. Seriously, how is this even debate? I understand that, because of vaccines, there hasn't been cases of, measles and polio at the length, so people just don't see it. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean, oh, I think it's been a long enough time now. I've never heard of measles, so let's give it a go again. Really? It's not a roller coaster. It's a deadly disease. This is ridiculous. People are saying, I'm going to be, natural all around. These are the people who constantly argue chemicals are bad for you, everything's bad for you, natural medicines. I'm going to be all natural, no vaccine, no nothing. Fucking cavemen used to live like that, and their life expectancy was like nothing. Are you high?
Guaranteed is that your kids will have a really bad time for about 2 weeks. Okay, but what about vaccines? It's only fair to look at these risks too. So let's repeat our thought experiment, but this time we vaccinate 10 million children with MMR. What would theoretically happen here? After being vaccinated, of our 10 million kids, around 10% get a fever. 500,000 or 5% will get a mild rash. Up to 100 or 0.001% might have a serious allergic reaction and will have to be treated. Up to 10 boys, or 0.0001%, might get inflammation of the genitalia. And up to 10 kids in total, or 0.0001%, might get the most serious side effect, encephalitis. So we vaccinated 10 million kids. In total, around 120 had side effects that were somewhat serious. Thanks to good medical treatment in developed regions, almost all of them will be fine. What about autism? The connection...
The way Kurzgesagt is saying, I can feel his, basically, oh, let's compare them side by side equally. And I can feel like any moment he's gonna say, yeah, is it obvious now, idiot? So do you vaccinate or not? Is it obvious now?
Of autism and vaccines stems from one source that has been disproven countless times. We'll link to further reading and videos in the description. But in 2019, it's fair to say that vaccines do not cause autism. Alright, but what about deaths? It's really hard to say if even a single one of our 10 million vaccinated kids would die.
You do realize that, simple painkillers, paracetamol, acetaminophen, or whatever you call it there, those simple over-the-counter, painkillers can kill you. You do realize that, right? Simple things can kill you. So saying, is there a chance vaccines could kill you? Simplest thing could kill you, man.
We really did look hard and talk to a lot of different experts. If we ignore self-reporting, we could only come up with a tiny handful of documented cases for all the hundreds of millions of children who received the MMR vaccine since 1971. Measles are many, many thousands of times more dangerous for your child than
Yeah, I mean, if go ahead and try a search it, how many people die by just simple painkillers, not even heavy opioids, simple painkillers. How many people died just because of that? The numbers will be even higher. So, I mean, come on, man.
even the absolute worst case of vaccine side effects. You have to search for lethal vaccine side effects with a huge magnifying glass, and even then it's very hard to find confirmed cases, while deaths from measles are real and easy to find. In 2017 alone, 110,000 people died from measles worldwide. Statistically, today 300 children will die of measles, one since this video started. You can compare vaccines to seatbelts. Are there weird freak accidents where someone gets killed by their seatbelt? Well, yes. But do you personally think it's safer to not put a seatbelt on your kid? Wait a second, what if your kid is actually allergic? What if none of the things we've said applies to your specific situation? In this case, you need to become the greatest vaccination promoter of all. Because if your children can't be vaccinated, only the collective can protect them.
Yeah.
This is called herd immunity, and it's the only thing that can protect your unvaccinated child. Herd immunity means that enough people are immune to a disease that it can't spread and dies before it reaches its victims. But to accomplish this for measles alone, 95% of the people around you need to be vaccinated. Conclusion. The problem with the debate about vaccines is that it's not fought on a level playing field. While the pro-vaccine side argues with studies and statistics, the arguments against them are usually a wild mixture of gut feeling, anecdotes and misinformation.
That explains every single shit about flat earth and everything. Even the global warming. Everybody, there are lots of Republicans, basically politicians basically say, you go with your facts, I will go with how people feel. Really? Is that where we are at now? People feel. Who gives a fuck what people feel? That's not reality. Reality doesn't, bend and shape itself because around how you feel.
And feelings are often immune to facts. We'll not convince anybody by screaming at them, but we can't hide from the reality of what anti-vaccine conspiracies do. They kill babies too young to be vaccinated. They kill healthy children that are just unlucky. They bring serious diseases back from the verge of extinction. And the biggest side effect of vaccines is fewer dead children. Vaccines are one of the most powerful tools we have to eradicate
Seriously.
the monsters that most of us have already forgotten. Let's not bring the beasts back.
This video should have way more views than it has. One of the most popular video on the YouTube has to be this, but it's not. Yeah, man, it's just sad to see this. I mean, I know this might be radical, but whenever some parent says, somebody has cancer, we're not going to pursue. I'm not talking about, the cancer that, somebody can be saved from, like, higher stage cancer. Only, at the starter stages of the cancer where it can be, there's a heavy chance that a person can be saved. And people we are just going to pray it out. We don't trust this medicine. Here's our kid, we're not gonna get him vaccinated. I mean, you're literally, risking someone's life. Just because it's your kid doesn't mean you don't own your kid, you're a guardian. I mean, this might be radical, but there should be some kind of a law that if you do something like that, like if you danger your children like that, basically your children get taken away from you. I mean, there is already law like that about abuse of children and things like that. If you abuse your children, the government agencies will come and take away your kids. How is not vaccinating or anything like that, like praying cancer away, is not considered abuse? I mean, it's not just about your kid too. You're basically risking other kids too now. I mean, this is just effed up, man. But yeah, in this age, I mean, flat earthers are rising, vaccine, the vaccine is bad, man. Global warming is just stupid. Anytime any scientist comes, somebody paid the scientist up. Anytime any kind of proof you come up with, yeah, he's just lying, he got paid or whatever. That's your answer to everything. Now, how are you supposed to battle that, man? Anytime anytime you say anything foolproof, people are like, you're just getting paid, or you're just lying. Anytime anybody has any opinion or even a fact that does not align with your opinion, basically they're lying. If you approach it like that, you're... Alright people, if you like my Rick Sunday, like and subscribe, check out the Rick Sunday, there's a link in the description, check out the cast with the playlist, check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.